Right, welcome back to my channel. Today we're once again working on the Defender. We're however discussing some sound deadening. So this could be usable for more than just Defenders, off-roaders, things like that. Particularly useful for those of you looking to do camper conversions. We'll be discussing what sound deadening is, the types of sound deadening, how it works, and potentially are we giving you a tip that could save you a few £100s, depending on how much. Sorry, the dog's doing dog things. Depending on how much sound deadening you're going to use for your conversion, for your car, whatever it may well be. And that's by using something designed for, believe it or not, construction work. So we'll get into it, have a quick discussion about what it is and obviously why you want to use it and the types of it. And then we'll go from there. So then, sound deadening, what actually is it? Now, if you were to look at this online and search Google, eBay, whatever it may be for sound deadening, the chances are you're going to come across two main types of sound deadening. You'll likely find foam-based type, whether that's open cell, closed cell foam, or you'll find like a butyl sticky back sort of film type sound deadening. Now both of these types are really good at what they do. I'll show you a couple of examples just on the screen next to me here so you can actually see. So this is your foam type cell. Like I said, this could be open cell, closed cell foam, and the idea is this is more used for music studios, recording situations, areas where you want to reduce the amount of reverberation or echo within a space. Easiest way to describe that, so if you're sat in a room now, whether it's your bedroom, living room, whatever it may well be, you've got furniture around you. So if you shout, you yell, you clap, most of that sound is going to get absorbed, or a lot of that sound is going to get absorbed by the materials in the room. Now, if you go into a stairwell, you go to a hallway, a big open hall where you've just got large flat surfaces around you and do the same thing, that clap, that shout, that yell, whatever it is, that's going to reverberate and echo around the space. So if you're trying to record some high quality audio, that's the last thing you want. If you're recording drums, for example, you want really sharp, instant hits. You want that recording to be really clean, and you want that room to be as dead as possible in some circumstances. There's a bit more to it than that. But that's generally speaking what that foam type of sound deadening is for. Now, if you're doing something on a camper van or a car, let's say you wanted to do a upgraded sound system in your car, the last thing you want is panels rattling. If you've got a big crafter van, whatever it may well be, big Sprinter type van, once again, you don't want those big panels vibrating around, rattling around when you've got the whole vehicle opened up. And you may have passengers in the rear. It's not going to be a great experience. So the other type of sound deadening is your stick-on film type sound deadening. Now this is effectively a butyl type material that literally is just self-adhesive on one side. You stick it on the panel, as you can see behind me here, and effectively what that does is adds mass to the panel, which in turn reduces the reverberation of that panel itself. So you're not trying to necessarily absorb sounds that are already in the back of the van. What you're trying to do is stop the panels from creating and amplifying noise as you're driving along and hitting bumps and rocks and things like that on the road. So that's the idea behind things such as Dead Mat, Dodo Mat, the examples that I'm showing on screen just now. Now, this is the type of thing, like I say, you're going to want to use for your conversion. I'll hop in the back of the van now and explain a little bit further as to why and how it works. So hopefully you can hear me all right. I've got the diesel heater running. It's about 2 degrees centigrade out there today. I'll write down in the message area here, or the screen area, what that actually is in Fahrenheit for the rest of the world who don't use centigrade. So, like I say, the insulation type that I've got on this van here, the idea is you're adding mass to this panel. So that's reducing how much you can vibrate. So if you had a really flimsy bit of plastic, whatever it is you've got in your hand, you can flap that around quite easily. That's effectively what happens with these panels when you can see they've not got an awful lot of support, not an awful lot of rigidity to them. Now what this equates to is, like I say, amplification of noise. I'll show you an example now. It's going to be really scientific, really technical. I'm going to knock the side of that van, which has got some of the sound deadening on it, and from the outside, same on this side, which has none of it. So I'll do that just now, and you should be able to hear. So this is this side, and this is the other side with no sound deadening. So hopefully you can hear that. Obviously you're just picking it up on a lapel mic, so hopefully that comes through. But once again, we've got sound deadened and no sound deadening over here. Now, the idea is we're trying to reduce that as much as possible to make this as nice of an interior as you can make it. I mean, it's a van, it's as tatty, it's as scruffy as you're gonna get. So yeah, anything is gonna help. Right, so in front of me, I've got an example here of dead mat type material. This is from Dead Mat. You've also got all sorts of brands out there. So like I say, it is literally just a sort of a sheet that's adhesive on one side, and you just stick it straight onto the panel of where you're going to try and insulate or deaden. Now, this is the point of the video where hopefully I turn what might seem like a clickbaity title or thumbnail into something that could be saving you some money. Now, I've done a bit of research into this myself. I'm not a scientist, you know, nothing like that. Nor am I an expert when it comes to these sorts of things. I'm not a converter either. So take this with, you know, however you wish. I'm not going to promise you exact results. However, what this will give you is very, very similar results, but for potentially in some cases half the price. And if you're going to buy something like this, which is your Dead Mat Black, which is the thicker stuff, more than 50% cheaper than that. Now, believe it or not, this material itself comes from construction usage. Now, when I was insulating the cab of my Defender with this, I thought I'd use something very similar recently. That's because I'd used this. Now, this is a LED flashing replacement for your roofs, for buildings where they connect to each other. So this is called Flashband. Now, what this is a butyl-based sticky back sheet. Now you can see it's not quite as wide. However, you can buy this in massive rolls from building merchants, Screwfix, places like that. Now, price comparison wise, this is, like I say, 50% cheaper per meterage covered compared to the Deadening, the thinner stuff. Now, there's a couple of differences. This obviously isn't necessarily designed for sound deadening. However, it's designed to go on the outside of the house, so I have no reason why to believe that it's not going to stick well to the inside of your van. It's not quite as thick as your Deadening, Dead Mat, whatever it may well be, which means in terms of the sound it's going to reject or stop going through is going to be slightly less, because obviously it's not quite as a thicker material. However, all I'm trying to do with this is reduce how much those panels rattle by adding mass, and that does exactly the same job. So I'm now going to go inside the van. I'm going to strip out the hodgepodge of whatever insulation's already in there left over from previous, how I've sort of left it halfway done, as I do with all of my projects by now. If you've watched any of my other videos, you know every time I start one of these videos, I'm already halfway through. So just roll with it, you know. But no, I'm going to do that just now, get the GoPro on for a bit of a time lapse where I strip it out. And then we're going to re-insulate this, and hopefully you'll be able to hear the difference between before and after, as well as the side-by-side that I've already showed you. So let's get cracking. So all I'm doing here is just using a scraper to remove the foam and double-sided tape that the previous owner had used to insulate the back of the van. For me to do the near side of the vehicle though, I needed to remove the sideways passenger bench. I did try and do this by myself. However, as it turns out, it's definitely a two-person job. So I'm very grateful that my wife came out to help me. However, part of that was that she didn't actually want to be on camera. So completely understandably, the next part of the video just cuts to me showing an issue we had. But I just thought I'd voice over quickly and explain what's going on here, as I'm hopping out the back of the van about 1,000 times. So made a bit of progress with taking some of the insulation off. However, for me to be able to get to this side, I need to take this sideways seat out, and I've hit a snag. Unfortunately, this bolt here has decided to round. So I'm going to try and cut that out. However, for now, you can see I've gotten some of the old insulation off. The previous keeper had used the foam type insulation, as you can see here. So this is, like I was saying earlier, this is the type of thing that you probably don't want to use in a car, because it doesn't really give you an awful lot, unless of course, like I say, you're in a studio. However, I'm going to try and cut this off now. Wish me luck. So it's me again. Just wanted to hop in again and just explain what I'm doing here.
just using a Dremel tool with a cut-off wheel. Didn't really want to try and get the angle grinder in there because it's not really big enough. Didn't really also feel like setting fires to the inside of the van. It only took a few minutes, so between a big hammer, some brute force, some ignorance, and a Dremel, managed to get that bolt out quite happily. Would rather not have to do that though, because that did set me back quite some time. However, these things do happen. But yeah, there we are, sorted. Some pretty sparks to look at anyway on camera. And just like that, I'm finally able to get to the other side of the van to sound deaden that. Or so I thought.
So in true UK fashion for winter time, the time is now 4:10 and I'm pretty much out of daylight. So unfortunately I'm going to have to leave the finish of this video for another day. But I'll make sure that it's actually in a few days time and not a few months as is normally the case. So I'll see you in a couple of days. So back again, about 3 days have passed since the last video, or the last clip you've seen. We're still really cold, we're -1 freezing today, 0 degrees. So yeah, chilly one, diesel heater is running again. Gonna get in the back, gonna get the insulation or sound deadening finished off in the back of the van. Gonna stick the GoPro on the head, so hopefully you can see how easy it is to fit and install, because it's so straightforward. But yeah, I'll just show you in the back of the van quickly because it's quite annoying where I got to yesterday. I was filming clips on the GoPro already, but because it was so dark already outside, it's just not watchable. So we're gonna do a few more clips and close off the video. So this is where I got to last time with regards to insulating the inside of the van or sound deadening the inside of the van. Managed to get the other side done as well. So I've done both of the sides, or the most part of. I've still got the roof left to do, so that's what I'm gonna be doing today. Could be interesting because, as you might be able to see, there is water droplets sat on the roof because we're that cold. Obviously we're just single skin, there's no insulation or anything like that on these sorts of vans, so we've got some decent amount of condensation. Plan is obviously we'll get that all insulated, we'll get the GoPro on the head, show just how easy it is to do. I'm going to try and do as much of this as I can today, and then in the next video, or the next Defender video shall I say, it'll be a case of actual insulation, so thermal insulation, as well as potentially getting this all plied out and carpeted down again to make it a much nicer place to live. But anyway, get the GoPro on and we'll get this started. So in the back of the Defender now, just going to finish off this installation on here, just show you how easy it is to do. I'm just going to fit this up here just to reduce some of the vibration you get on this section. Now, because this is curved, this is actually probably one of the better sections for how much deadening you need or don't need, shall I say, because it's got a lot of form and structure there already, as opposed to these big flat panels which are really loose and wobbly, as you can see. That's where you get your bigger issues. So in terms of installing this, it is exactly the same as your Dodo mat or dead mat material. Like I say, it's exactly the same type of material, barring a few minor differences. Because it is so cold and wet today, all I'm going to do to help this adhere is just get some warmth onto it. So I'm just going to use a heat gun.
As you'll be able to see, I made this look way harder than it actually is. If you're not daft like me, you'll measure out how much of the insulation material you need before you try and stick it on. So I suggest doing that, otherwise you end up, well, looking like a fool and posting it on the internet.
So then pretty much done all of the sound deadening that I wanted to do in the back of the van. Haven't done the roof of the van, as you see in a second, just purely on the basis that this is going to get supports, battens, beams for when I do the rest of the installation and when I line and carpet the van. However, for now, done all the sound deadening to the sides that I wanted to do. So as you can see here, it has been deadened all the way around. All sides are done. Now obviously it hasn't completely stopped any sound travelling through, but the idea is, like I say, you just reduce how much flexibility you have got on the panels by adding some more support and tension to the van, or tension to the sides. So the idea is now, like I say, if you wanted to be a bit more precise with it, you can make it a bit pretty if you wanted to as well. However, because this is going to get fully lined, carpeted, everything on top, I'm really not that precious. So that's going to be it for today. Obviously, if you did find any of the information in here useful, even if it's just a case of how to sort of install the Dodo mat type stuff, it's dead straightforward anyway, so I'm not saying you don't. But if you found anything useful, please do like, comment, subscribe, whatever it may well be. I hate begging. However, put a lot of effort into this video in terms of editing, filming, so hopefully that comes across and hopefully that's appreciated as well. So once again, massive thanks for watching. We'll see you very soon with something and a bit of change of pace from the Defender. Cheers.